I'm joined by one of the key figures shaping the pre-draft landscape, Senior Bowl Director Drew Fabianich, and we unpacked how the Senior Bowl identifies top prospects.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen of the day and being our everydayers. We have a fun one, guys. I am joined by Executive Director of the Senior Bowl, Drew Fabianich, and he will break down all things Senior Bowl, their scouting process and how they identify top prospects, get into some player breakdowns like a Taylen Green, Diego Pavia, Skyler Bell. And then if you're going to Mobile for the Senior Bowl, what are the expectations? What should you expect under the new director? We'll break all that down. Let's get to our discussion with Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Senior Bowl. Drew Fabianich, this is your first year in this role here with the Senior Bowl and everything. It's been such an amazing event, and I can't wait to be down there in about a month. Looking forward to it. Already got the wife and the kids getting everything situated so I can make the trip. Talk to us about your scouting process for you and your scouting department and how you guys really identify the players that you want. What are you looking for when you're watching these guys during the season?
Well, this was built no different than what an NFL, team is built like. That started with Phil Savage, then it continued with Jim Nagy. When I walked in, there was already 260 players on the board already when I got here. So what happens is the office actually goes through, the scouting assistants, which are, Jackson Roby and Michael Newsom, and then Jack Gilmore. They got started, as soon as that game's over with, we flush the board. We leave the ones up there that we'd evaluated already, and then keep continuing to grind on each school, throughout the entire, summer. And then we bring in our 10 scouts. So we have 10 scouts scattered throughout the country. And I can't even tell you how many years of experience in the NFL these guys have. I mean, with me and everybody else, I think there's probably over 200 years of experience, in the NFL. So these guys I trust, and we send them a list. And we break it down by area. We break it down by, position, after the fact. But when it's broken down by school, that's no different than what an area scout would do, on the road. We just do it in-house because we can't afford to send guys out to all these schools like the NFL club do. Well, so then we go to an October meeting with them. They present it to us. And then what we'll do is we'll cross-check them. So what's happened is we've thrown our list out there. Well, they've thrown their grades back. Now we're going to go back and recheck them, and we're going to get to a common consensus on where a guy needs to be. And then Jack and I sit there and go over the entire board and go through every position and stack every position best to worst. I mean, not worst, but what I'm saying, best to the value of where we are. It's a vertical board, just like we set up in the NFL for draft, not a horizontal board, not a position horizontal board by round, a vertical board, by best to worst and by their value as we see it, in the round value. So it's a pretty extensive, process, and it's NFL driven because the guys that had this before me were, NFL guys, and I am too. And it wasn't broken at all. I mean, so now I just brought in a few more guys that I knew, and we changed some things up a little bit, but the process works, and it's showing up big time with just how we put out the invites and everything else. And I did change that. I was on the other side of it. I was on the coaching side for a while, when I was coaching college ball, and I never wanted those type of distractions during the regular season. So I didn't want to send the boxes out 3 weeks before the season was over with, and they just sit there. And then me having to reach out, or whoever I decided to reach out to that school and say, hey, when are you gonna distribute these? Because it's, well, during the season, they don't want to. As soon as that season's over with, then it's like, okay, we're good. There are some schools that still haven't distributed the boxes because they're in the playoffs. Some have. That's up to the head coach. But I did not want to be a distraction for their process. And that's why I delayed, the boxes going out. So every box didn't show up until the Monday after Thanksgiving. So mostly everybody was done, right? Well, we had a pretty good return of serve over the last 10 days, right?
Tell me about it.
I'm thinking, and again, it was 46 yesterday. I'm thinking we'll probably be to 50 to 52 by the end of the day today for the 140 spots. So it's moving pretty quickly, and I think guys have realized that they better take the opportunity, because there's going to be a point where I'm going to say, look, if you can't make up your mind, I'm moving on. Yeah. And I'm just going to move down to the next guy in that vertical board. Just go, hey, if that number 6, if he decides he's not going to make up his mind, I'm going to number 7. And 7, going to 8. And that's just how it's going to work. Because there are enough guys, to replace 6 or 7 guys in certain positions. There's a position this year that I'm leaving probably 8 to 9 guys on the street that I would normally have in this game, because it's that deep. And tell me what you think it is, Damon.
Because one of the deepest positions in this draft right now, it might be contrary to popular belief, the wide receiver class is pretty deep to me. I see a lot of talent there in terms of going a couple rounds into the draft. I'm gonna lean wide receiver or edge, because I think it's a really good edge class too in terms of depth.
Defensive ends.
That's what. Okay. Yep.
And the receivers aren't thick with number 1s.
Right. Yeah.
They're thick with number 2s and number 3s.
Number 2s and number 3s. Yep.
Yeah. That's what it's thick with. There's some guys I'd like to have in at wideout, but I think I've identified the top group, and there'll be some guys that think that they don't need this, and that's fine, but they do, because you play in this game and you play well down here. I mean, it's the best against the best.
Absolutely.
Because there's some dudes that played against guys that are going to be working and flipping FedEx next week.
That's very true. That's very true.
Down here, these guys are going to be playing in the league, every single one of them. So, again, that's a tagline, best against best, but it's true. And the draft starts here.
Draft starts in Mobile.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at a couple of years ago, Tank Dell, when he was down in Mobile and coming out of Houston, and he answered so many questions when people were worried about, okay, he's a smaller guy, how will he handle the one-on-ones? And I'll tell you, Drew, I remember talking after the first practice where he was uncoverable that first day of practice. Talked to a lot of the DBs there the next morning at breakfast. We were just kind of talking and chopping it up. And everything I heard was like, man, after the first couple reps of one-on-one with Tank Dell, guys were hesitant to step back to the line of scrimmage, because they was like, man, I do not want to get embarrassed by this guy, because nobody could get hands on him. So the history. Gray Zabel, yes. Outstanding week that he had, last year. We've seen so many guys come through Mobile. That's why I love it. So many guys that come through. Everybody always talks about the quarterbacks, you know what I mean? From a Jalen Hurts to Justin Herbert to even last year with a Jackson Dart. We've seen so many guys come through Mobile as quarterbacks and elevate themselves, or just solidify themselves as top prospects in the draft. But you look at the other position groups. What was it? To me, he plays offensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens, their right tackle. Blank his name, he played at Washington. Roger Rosengarten. He came down when he was eligible, and that coaching staff actually put him at left tackle that week as well, and wanted to test him. And he fared well. And I was like, this is how you ended up as a top mid-second round pick, and now you're the starting offensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens as a rookie, because you went to Mobile and you proved yourself. Guys, it's 2025, almost 2026. And those days of waiting for something to become a full-blown emergency before you see a doctor, they're over. No more walking it off for 6 months. No more pretending that weird shoulder stiffness is just sleeping wrong. It's time to take your health seriously. And ZocDoc makes that easier than ever, because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym or eating right. It's about actually getting things checked out when something feels off. Using ZocDoc makes scheduling easier. Search for in-network doctors and book right in the app. Stop putting off your doctor's appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNFL. Car shopping should feel exciting and not confusing. With Car Gurus, you get the confidence you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars you want. Because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal. And Car Gurus makes that whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else so you can shop the way you want. Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process. With over 4 million listings, the most of any major online automotive marketplace, you'll always find the best deal. Shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at CarGurus.com. Again, buy or sell your next car today at CarGurus.com. That's CarGurus.com. CarGurus.com. And we see that year and year.
I can give you the easiest one, and some of your viewers are too damn young, but DeMarcus Ware.
Yes.
We take DeMarcus Ware at 10, okay? Mm-hmm. And after this, because put it this way, it was between him and Sean Merriman, right? Yeah. Once he came down here and showed that he could do it, because Troy, he didn't play against nobody. Mm-hmm. I mean, nobody. So he comes down here, kicks ass, drops, does everything standing up, coming up. I mean, Parcells came back, that's the guy. I mean, everybody said, it's between him and Sean Merriman all the way through the draft. Nope. We knew after we left here that we were taking him over Sean Merriman. Wow. Sean Merriman was a great-ass player.
Great, yeah.
I mean, great-ass player. But, again, we were sitting there going like, okay, we just thought DeMarcus was a little bit better. You know? I mean,
Hall of Fame player. Turned out to be a Hall of Fame Super Bowl champion. I want to piggyback off that, Drew. Okay. When you're watching some of these smaller school players, and now of course with the
I'm gonna stop you right there. Yeah. There ain't many. Because of the portal.
Yep.
Because P4 guys that like me that came into general managers that understood that, hey, we're gonna have to pluck from everybody. And we're gonna have to fill needs from everybody.
Kurt Signetti.
Those guys aren't there. I mean, there used to be 50 to 75 below P4 guys, that were written or whatever by the combine or whatever. And now, I mean,
they're all at P4 schools. Now.
Do you count San Diego State as a lower division?
No.
Okay, well, kind of is in a way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I only got one real small school guy right now.
Yeah.
One. I mean,
that's is it the Georgia State receiver Ted?
I didn't count him, but you could say, and again, I'm not dogging out San Diego State.
No.
But having Chris and then and having Ted, but then it's the kid from Stephen F. Austin.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep. And then because again, I'm sitting there going like we had 24 guys that were below. I mean, just to look at. Yeah. And I'm going like, gosh, it used to be so much more. I mean,
it used to be.
I can remember me going to flipping IUP when I was a national guy for a draftable guy, or going to Kutztown or whatever. But those guys are identified now already, and they're already at P4 schools. So they're doing the NFL's job for them already, and they're doing my job and our job for us too. So,
100%.
So I wanted to cut you off because I was like, we're wasting time talking about that because
I'm glad you cut me off because I was wondering how with the portal and NIL and all that stuff, how difficult does that make the job to find those small school guys? But you already answered that. I want to get into let's talk real quick. Coming up next, we want to talk about some of the players that you guys have already gotten in there, especially at the quarterback position. I want to talk Taylen Green. Talk to the listeners about Taylen Green, the 6'6", 240-pound athlete coming out of Arkansas, big arm, and a guy that when I study the film, because of Bobby Petrino's offense, he's not a novice in terms of getting under center, running some pro style things, having to turn his back and play action, come back to the top of his drop, then survey the field and layer the football. What did you see when you watched Taylen Green, and why would a week in Mobile be so big for him?
Because again, he's going to be playing the best against the best. That's what everybody's looking at. How do you perform, and how do you perform with the competition that's going to line up next to you? Because again, was there anybody at Arkansas that was of his class? I mean, the young kid was a good player, but again, there's a reason why he was a starter.
Mm-hmm.
The thing like you said, the thing I like about it, and I've known Bobby Petrino since we actually played against each other in college.
Wow.
I mean, he played for his dad at Rocky Mountain College, and we played against him, and I was at Mesa and all that. So I mean, small school guy, but viewers, don't kid yourself. Bobby Petrino is an incredible offensive mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I coordinated against him later on, and it wasn't just chess. It was like 3-dimensional chess with him. Now, we had some great ones. Love him to death. He prepares guys, for the NFL, because again, not a lot of guys understand how to change a protection, how to ID a mic, which way the protection is, where are your hots. At least he comes in knowing that, which helps him. The thing, he's grown since he transferred in there. I mean, he's grown each year. The one thing I liked about him and the one thing I disliked about him was that he was accurate at times. He was really streaky.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also inaccurate, streaky. And a lot of it had to do with his lower body, his mechanics, his release and everything. And if the pocket was clean, if it wasn't clean, but if he could show coming down here that I'm adjusting with other receivers, right, that I didn't work with, that I'm throwing catchable balls, I'm being accurate, I'm actually running the line of scrimmage, which not a lot of guys in college can do anymore. There's probably 3 guys out of this entire quarterback class that can run the line of scrimmage. And I think you know what I'm talking about. That's like IDing a mic, changing the protection, right? I mean, okay, maybe I'm gonna kill it, because they're a different front. And again, kills are a second play. I mean, a second huddle call that's already put into the huddle call. Not many teams do that. They just signal a play in shotgun and go, okay, we're playing. Here's the signal. In the NFL, you don't do that.
No.
You got 45 seconds. Make the damn play call, which could be a mouthful. Especially if you're running the John Gruden style, West Coast offense.
Yes.
Then you're walking up the line of scrimmage with about 26 seconds left. Now you're deciding whether I'm going to, have to change the protection or not, whether I'm going to have to kill it to the next play. And you're all thinking about this, going like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
And it is wow. So when people act like that, hey, quarterback, I could do that. No, you couldn't.
No,
you couldn't.
No, you cannot.
No. And
I
was a good college quarterback. I wasn't anything special, right? And I was a coach's kid, so I got it. Normally I had it, But again, people don't understand what goes into it. They really don't. So I think this is going to be big for him just on the accuracy side, because the biggest thing to me, and what's funny is I said this about like 9-10 weeks ago, and Troy Aikman echoed it. Like on one of the Thursday night games, the most important, right, critical factor of a quarterback is accuracy.
Yes.
Bottom line. Bottom line. I mean, if you're not accurate, you can't play. You can't play. Or you're going to get somebody killed.
Very much so. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. The holiday season is one of the best times for sports. Bowl games, big basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while we're all making choices every day, one of the most fun places to make the right call is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the easiest way to get in on daily fantasy. Just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, lock in your lineup, and you're in the game. It's simple, fast, and available in 45 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. Prize Picks has added an extra layer of excitement to the holiday sports schedule. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is good to be right.
So I'm with you. That was a little much for one dude, but
no, that's fine. I love the information.
Yeah, I really love Taylen Green, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him down there. A lot of stuff at Arkansas. The defense wasn't the best, so it was a lot of shootouts and him having to kind of play, what I call sometimes superhero ball, like hero ball. Like he was trying to get that. There's no, like I say in basketball, there's no 4-point shot. No matter how far you shoot the three, it's still three. It's the same thing with throws. There's no 8-point touchdown. You know what I mean? No 14-point throw that's going to get you over the hump. You got to kind of matriculate your way down the field and make the right decisions. At times, we talked about it on the pod with me and my co-host Keith. Just Arkansas's defense, and like go back to that Texas A&M game. I think they scored 42. Texas A&M scored 45, and it's like it's hard to blame a quarterback in those type of games when it's like, man, the other team is scoring at such a high clip. I'm just trying to tread water. I'm just trying to stay ahead of the curve and things of that nature. But staying ahead of the curve, I want to transition to another quarterback.
I'm going to give you some props if you can tell me where matriculate down the field came from.
Because I'm 36. I cannot, for some reason, I'm blanking on the coach's name, but I've watched the was it on NFL Network? I've seen him so many times. Though, just him walking down. I don't remember if he's a Chiefs coach. I can't remember his name, but
Super Bowl winning coach.
Super Bowl winning coach, and I always remember that. Yes, I always remember that phrase. That's a phrase that has never left my mind. Matriculate your way down the field, and I look at that with quarterback.
Because sometimes I'll say things and people go like, they look at me like, man, I'll never remember that.
I love the game.
I swear to God, I compared a guy to Joe Washington, which you would never flip and remember. There's no way you ever remember Joe Washington, right?
No.
Google up Joe Washington. Look at some clips. Okay.
I will.
I compared Cadillac Williams to Joe Washington. Okay.
Man.
Turn it on, and you tell me if I'm
gonna check it out. I'm definitely checking it after we finish this pod. I'm checking it out.
I swear to God, 6 people in the room go, who?
Who's Joe Washington?
Oh man. Be a historian. Understand this game.
I love it, man. Yeah. Cadillac's one of my favorite running back prospects of all time, too. Let's talk about Diego Pavia, the guy who's a Heisman candidate right now and everything. I talked about him on this pod. He's a program changer at the quarterback position. Vanderbilt for a long time was looked at one of the worst teams in the SEC. Nobody wanted to give them the love and respect or anything like that. You get a Diego Pavia to come in there, Eli Stowers, Clark Lee coming in as the head coach. I always go back to those Patriot Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, teams, and the Patriot way would never have become the Patriot way if you don't get your top guy on board. If Tom Brady's not buying in, neither is that 4th-string receiver or that 3rd-string offensive lineman. Those guys who are just waiting for their chance. For Clark Lee to come in there, you get a Diego Pavia. He buys into everything Coach Lee is preaching and building, and he takes it and runs with it. And watching the season they had, what do you really like about a Diego Pavia, and what you're looking forward to seeing him down at the Senior Bowl practices?
5'9" quarterback right here. Yeah.
Let's go. Yes.
And I actually nicknamed him, and he actually liked it. Right. It's Bulldog Pavia.
I like that. Bulldog Pavia.
It fits.
It does.
I mean, and here's the thing. There's different kinds of personalities, and depending on, how you're taken. But, again, if he's talking that much shit, okay, and being that boisterous about how he plays, there's a difference between being cocky and being confident. Cocky, you can't back it up. Confident, you can, right? Well, he's proved he can back it up to his teammates. So now his teammates are going like, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
We're good. And here's the funny thing. There are certain people that walk into the room and that they're the natural leader without even saying a damn word, right? You can tell he's always been that guy. First of all, I think it started with a chip, right?
Yep.
Then it was like, okay, well, now I know I can do it. and now I'm going to let everybody else know that I can
Mm-hmm.
do it. And now they're going to believe. And that's what I think he brought. Clark Lee was like, the foundation of the whole thing. And dude, they look like an SEC football team. And when I was
Absolutely.
at Tennessee coaching, they did not look like an SEC football team. I mean, they did not, you know. So, but again, he brought the belief. That's what I thought. And, the program changer is a great way of saying it, but he's also, he started an engine now that
Mm-hmm.
people are going to start going, okay, well, hey, I can get a great degree and I can win football games,
Get
and boy, like,
drafted and everything.
a
Yeah.
great degree and I'm going to get my ass kicked about 90% of the time, and
Yep.
that's what it was. I mean, so, I really like him. And what? Everybody doesn't quite grasp this, but there's a few bad decisions here or there, but there are some really good decisions too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the offense coordinator and Jerry Kill have done a great job of using exactly what he can do. They don't push him into things he can't do.
Absolutely.
Rarely is he in a 7.5 yard pocket. Rarely. There's always
Yep.
play action. There's always RPOs. He's always on a dash. He's moving the pocket for him. Because trust me, you can't see back there. You
No.
can't. You can't. And you got to have anticipation and knowing where guys are going to be, which
And put the ball
is
out there.
something you cannot teach. You can't. I'm sitting there watching Kellen Moore years ago at Boise State, and I'm going, where in the hell is he throwing that damn ball? And all of a sudden, here comes an over route, from the other side. I'm going like, damn. Most anticipation I've ever seen. Well, there's a reason why he lost 2 games in his entire flipping college career, right?
Yes.
Because it was cerebral plus it was ability. So
You're right.
I like Diego, and I like what he's going to bring because, he not just brings that confidence. He brings kind of juice to practice.
Yep.
He brings energy. Which I think a lot of these dudes are going to feed on that. I really do. So that's just my take on it.
I like that. And I think just kind of, watching him and to your point about, just the anticipation. Who was it? It was Brock Purdy. He did a podcast in the offseason saying, yeah, no, I can't see back there. Like, he's like, I can't see. I'm throwing to the spot. I know where my guy's supposed to be, and I'm throwing and I'm leading them there. And I think that was a wake-up call to a lot of NFL fans who or football fans in general who listen to him say that, because when you're watching the pocket and you see him, like once he get into that groove and that rhythm and he's out there just slinging it, you're like, man, like his field vision must be great. And to hear the player himself like, yeah, no, I can't see back there. Or listen to Drew Brees talk about how, I always like, because there's certain comps that I try to stay away from as players. And Drew Brees is one of them for like the shorter quarterbacks, because Brees was so savvy and nuanced where, I remember when Bryce Young was coming out, Bryce would always drop deep in the pocket to find throwing lanes. He would out leverage his tackles. And that was the thing. I was like, in the NFL, you got to step up and find throwing lanes, because you're just hurting your tackles if you're deep like that. Yeah, Drew Brees, you would see him sit in the pocket and just find lanes and things of that nature. So when you get a shorter quarterback that can really dial it in, like it's so much fun to watch, man. But I Drew, I want to keep the player breakdowns going. We got one more for you. Skyler Bell out of UConn. A relatively unknown prospect for a lot of the draft fans and consensus on social media and things like that. But I think the Senior Bowl is going to be kind of his coming out party for those who haven't gotten the chance to watch his film. What are some of the things you saw from him on tape that you really appreciated?
Well, put it this way, he's got separation quicks for his size. That's what I'm always looking for. Because if you're a big man and you can't separate, you better be quarterback friendly. You better be able to come down with the 50-50 balls, because you're going to be draped. He's a bigger receiver, but he's not a big receiver. Gets in and out real well. Consistent with his hands. Tracks the ball really, really well. The rack isn't great. It's more of a vision type of runner. He's more of a void guy than a make you miss. But he's strong through contact, which I like too. He's been productive. The quarterback was pretty good too. Now, he really was. They got a good running game. Jim Moore did a great job. There's a reason why I got another job. Because,
right.
That's not an easy job. But no, I think you're correct. I think he'll he'll benefit from this. And again, we'll see how much he can separate from like real dudes.
Yeah.
You know, because there's going to be some real dudes here. So
Absolutely.
That's where that's the biggest piece of this. And again, I keep saying this. This is the best against the best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so again, these are guys going to be playing in the league. You want to see these guys. I mean, and my pitch to people buying tickets, like even around this area, or even in the state of Alabama, or Georgia, or Louisiana, whatever, where can you go to see more draftable guys on the field at one time in one place? Where? Nowhere.
Nowhere.
And they'll say Iron Bowl. I said nope, because
no,
not 80% of those guys are going to be drafted.
No,
they're not.
They're really not.
No. So, but no, I that's neither here nor there. That's the biggest point. If you can compete here, you can compete in the NFL.
Anywhere. Yep. I love that. I want to close this thing out with you as the new executive director of the Senior Bowl. For those of us in the media, the fans coming out to support this event, what are the expectations to look forward to at practice and at the game?
Quickly, the practices have got pushed back.
Okay.
It's going 1:30 to 3:30 and then 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I did that because I wanted them to interview in the morning instead of interviewing at night. Okay. Because interviewing at night not only was bad for everybody that had to interview the player, but it was even worse for the player. So I wanted to change that. I wanted to give them some downtime in the evening. So the last practice finishes at 6. Well, what that does is also helps the community, because now these kids that get out of school and the parents can get off of work and they can actually maybe get an hour and a half of practice. Which practices are open. I mean, public can come to the practices, right? The game, it's going to be structured the same way as it was before. And quite honestly, I've never been. So this is going to be my first rodeo, right?
It's fun.
I'm looking forward to it. But what to expect is there's going to be a lot more networking going on in the evenings here now, because the evenings will be free. Gotcha. And the agents will be out, the coaches will be out, because coaches stopped coming here because of the night interviews, because they said, why am I going to do that there when I can go do it at the combine?
Good point.
Because this used to be the NFL coaches' kind of unofficial convention. And a lot of dudes got jobs here and networked and got to know, because NFL coaches, they don't have a convention. They don't recruit with each other. They're not out on the road. So this was always an opportunity for them to grow and get a better job. So that's opened that up for them. So this whole thing started with me going, hey, what can help the players in the evening get some downtime and recovery? Well, now I got a collateral positives across the board just because of that. And now the coaches are going to start coming back down here, right? And networking, looking for jobs, drinking with their buddies, having fun time. Personnel people are going to be doing the same thing. And then they're going to actually be able to go to dinner instead of being in interviews from 7 o'clock to 10:30 every damn night.
Very true.
Because by the time I got done with those for 18 years, I mean, well, not 18, because we used to have to do it in the lobby for like the first 6. I mean, I wanted to stick an ice pick in my head. I mean, I was like, I don't want to do anything. Everyone's like, hey, you want to go do it? No, I don't. So I was thinking, like, what does a player feel like? And again, I'm all about the player, because I was one of those guys who was a player's coach. I mean, I was a straight running asshole, on the field, but off the field, I wanted them to know that their best interest was my best interest too. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man. You got me even more excited. Looking forward to the week of practices, and got all my stuff booked, ready to go, ready to rock and roll. Drew, I appreciate you, coming on the show, talking to us through the process of scouting, the player breakdowns of some of the players, top players that you have already coming through. And we are looking for all the other Twitter notifications. I know I'm staying notified every time you guys drop a graphic, so I know I gotta get eyes on this guy if I haven't already. I appreciate you, man.
There's a tease today. I told you there's a big one happening today.
I can't wait to see it.
There's a big one. Okay.
I can't wait to see it. Yes, sir.
Hey, pleasure. Thank you.